Welcome to Phone Booth Fighting, everybody. I'm Richard Hunter. He is Frank Mir. We are coming together for another edition of this fine podcast. Check us out on youtube.com/phone booth fighting. Like and subscribe if you haven't to our YouTube channel. And please tell a friend. You got one friend, right? Surely everybody has at least one friend. Or you can friend somebody on Facebook or something and do it that way. But tell them about Phone Booth Fighting. You can get the audio portion of the podcast pretty much wherever podcasts are available. We would appreciate it. Help us keep growing this thing. Frank, a good Sunday morning to you. How are you? I see your poolside there at Stately Mirror Manor.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a busy couple months now during the week for me, and it's only ramping up more and more intense. And then I had to do some travel this weekend on top of training. Yeah, I'm enjoying my Sunday. I got in late last night from San Antonio, and I'm gonna enjoy just hanging out today with the kids.
Frank's, of course, got the big fight coming up against Antonio Tarver on April 17th. Former world boxing champion, former light heavyweight champ. Frank is going to be making his boxing debut. So everybody get ready for that. We've got a location set, Atlanta, right? It's where the fight's going to be.
Yeah, I think they even mentioned the arena. I forgot.
Oh, I was going to bring that up to you. This thing's like in a stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, from what I was reading, it's not going to be, full on open to the public seats and all that. But I guess there will be some fans that can get in and have plenty of room to spread out in there. But still, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, totally. I thought they were going to do somewhere small because the last I heard, they said, maybe 150 people there, just invite only type situation. And then have, whatever tickets the fighters got for their family. And so it's going to be a very small crowd, obviously, because, to keep up with, everybody's safe. But when they said the arena, because someone said, they goes, oh, that's where they play football games. So I'm like, oh, like a big stadium? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, damn. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be on the same card as the Ben Askren. And is it Jake Paul or Logan Paul? Do you know? Which Jake one of the Jake Paul? Okay, because they both do this, right? Don't they both? Okay. I'm running out of time to make good on my promise to try to figure out what these people do. These two, and you just focus on the training. You have other things to worry about. I'll figure this out for both of us because neither one of us had much of a. Maybe we should
we both beat the cutoff age for understanding who.
Yes, maybe we should get one of the Mir kids on at some point between now and April 17th. Do you think they could kind of give a dossier on what these guys do? You said they kind of understand it, right?
Yeah, totally. Also, too, actually was a big fan of his is Nick Best's son, Dylan, who does a lot of the videography for us.
I know Nick, of course. I'm not sure I've ever met his son. I'm not sure I have.
He's been at stuff before, group settings. So
yeah,
I think like my 40th birthday and stuff. So
okay, well, I probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, I'll have him come on if the kids don't, because he was giving a whole breakdown on him. He was.
That's what we need. All right. Well, anyway, always exciting when Frank's got another fight on the calendar, and we're just about a month or so away. So we'll be talking more about that. Had some fights last night to talk about. UFC Fight Night here in Las Vegas, and we'll do that. This is kind of, I'm liking this little Sunday morning arrangement we got, Frank. This is kind of working out well. The last couple of episodes we've taped on Sunday morning, basically just as I roll out of bed, and of course you just returned from church, and all I have to do is wait for you to get back home, and then we can set up tape. I don't know. What do you think? I kind of like this because the fights just happen. A lot of times Saturday night, there's some fights to talk about. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when I'm not traveling the day before, I could have watched.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm liking the Sunday morning stuff.
Yeah, that's okay because we're going to watch them here as we talk, and we're going to do a little watch along. And the UFC fighters helped us out last night because the top three fights all ended in about 28 seconds combined, it felt like. So it's not going to take very long. But we'll do what we did last week. I guess it was last week. And tell everybody to go to their ESPN Plus app if they want to watch along. And Frank hadn't even seen the fights yet, so this will be new to him. Let's go ahead. I'll tell you, we're going to go ahead and cue those up while we're talking here. We'll just go to the main event first, which was Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad. So what we'll do, we're on the ESPN Plus app. So I guess what we should just do is
we're going Edwards and Muhammad first.
Yeah, let's do that one first. And then see, I'm gonna cue this up. Pardon us talking through this for just a second while we're there we go. Okay. All right. Sometimes I'll click on the Spanish language. I guess it doesn't really matter here because we're gonna have the volume down, but all right. So oh gosh, well, I didn't have my volume down. I lied, didn't I? Okay. I'm at 3 seconds of this one. 3 seconds in. Let me know when you're ready. I think we're gonna have to talk our way through fighter introductions and things like that while this is going on. Leon Edwards, of course, just give me the heads up when you're ready. Leon Edwards, of course, returning to the octagon after a long layoff. I had to look up to see exactly how long it had been because it feels like forever. It's actually 425 days ago was his fight against Rafael dos Anjos. And that was back, I think that was the night of the incident with Jorge Masvidal, if you remember that, where Leon Edwards took a swing at Jorge Masvidal, and there was talk about that fight for a while, but that never happened. Yeah, he's been inactive for quite a while, well over a year. You keyed up yet? You still looking?
Yeah, I'm watching Joe Martinez right now announce.
Oh, hang on a second. Where are you at? What? Pause it. Where? So I can queue up with you.
I'm at 37 seconds in, 38 seconds.
Okay, just pause it for a second.
40.
Let me go to that.
40 seconds of the actual streaming.
Got it. Okay. I am too. And let's in 3, 2, 1. Let's hit play. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Now I'm synced up with you. So it looks like we're getting fighter introductions. So yeah. So Leon Edwards' original opponent had fallen out a number of times. Khamzat Chimaev, and he's having a real long hauler, protracted battle with COVID-19 fallout. I don't know if you've seen this or not. This fight has been scheduled and called off 3 different times. And I mean, this guy apparently is really having a hard time recovering from this thing. So they finally scrapped the idea of that, at least for now, and plugged in Belal Muhammad as a replacement. But Edwards, sitting at a number 3 ranking, despite his level of inactivity, possibly has a title shot on the line, depending on the outcome of this fight. So what's your thoughts about fighters? Always a risky thing to do when you're in that spot where, one more win over a top-ranked opponent, or a ranked opponent anyway, probably gets me a title shot. For whatever reason, the fight just seems snake-bitten, like it's not going to happen. Hey, Frank, no worries. We've got you a replacement opponent. We'll just plug this guy in. What do you think about that? Because it's always a risk. You lose, you have a bad night, and all of a sudden you can fall out of consideration.
Absolutely. But, there really is no smart move in that. As far as, what I tell somebody is like, well, this is the better plan, because it'll all come down to hindsight. You take the fight and you win. That's great. It's actually a bonus, and it kind of, keeps you floating right where you were at. And then if you win very devastatingly, it can still up you in points, even if your opponent wasn't ranked considerably high. But the downfall of just waiting out and go, I'm not going to take that risk. I'm going to wait for my title shot. Well, there's other guys in the division. If someone's on your heels and they go have a great fight and a great showing, all of a sudden now you're out of sight, out of mind. It's been 9 months since you fought. He just knocked someone out devastatingly, or, phenomenal submission. And now all of a sudden you might get skipped in the title contingency.
Yeah, especially in the UFC. The UFC as a company has always headed that direction. Like, we're in the business of putting on fights, and we got to keep the train rolling. Fight's underway here. Just about 20 seconds in, and Leon Edwards had looked like a wardrobe malfunction or something. Had to fix something going on. The trunks high kick there.
Edwards definitely look at his footwork, switching stance, controls the distance quite well. You can see every time he doesn't like the setup that is in front of him, Muhammad, he just moves off corner.
And Muhammad's a fighter that will be known for coming forward and doesn't look like he's doing it quite so much in this fight, giving Edwards a lot of respect. What are your first thoughts anytime you see a fighter do that? Somebody who's, known for aggressiveness and all of a sudden you see certainly not tentative, but you can see, okay, they're not considering this just any other fight for him. They're not gonna steamroll this guy.
Well, I think it just shows that they don't have a solution for what's going on, this to nullify their forward movements, whether it's cutting off the ring properly, more fakes and movement as far as, setting your guy off. Like when I have a guy in front of me, if I want to move forward, who moves like Edwards, well, then you got to fake a lot. So that way he's constantly bouncing in and out off of your fakes and not just off your forward movement. So you make him waste energy. And then he doubts when you're coming forward, and then you can fake him out. Also, too, proper angling of whether you are in the cage. Right here, because he's moving backwards because he has a hard time moving forward in a straight line. Now he's letting Edwards have his offensive moments, fighting at his range.
Mm-hmm. Edwards backs Muhammad against the cage. Back out to the center of the octagon. Another high kick. That one wobbled Muhammad.
Yeah, that one should block a kick. The energy, because it still goes through sometimes your forearms and hits. It can still shake you, stun you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why sometimes I feel like the best approach, obviously, checking with your forearms is preferable over your forehead. But if you can completely just move out of the way of the kick and let it fly in the air, that's the best,
Double underhooks here from Muhammad. He's able to back Edwards now against the cage, turn him around, and slow the momentum for a second. Gives him a chance to collect his thoughts. Edwards still pinned up against the back of the cage.
No, Edwards doing a good job of getting his hips twisting out to the side, trying to get his head in position so that he can frame.
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad was able to win back the head battle. But he kind of opted to pull out. I guess he just wanted to take a break, didn't like what he saw as far as takedowns. I thought he could have developed it even more on the cage, but obviously I'm not in there feeling what he felt.
Yeah. Got about a minute and 45 seconds left in this round. There's a good straight left by Muhammad.
Really enjoy watching Edwards fight on his feet. His ability to switch stances as he moves gives him great angles. Because you move forward, you think you're fighting a guy with right-handed angles. He steps off as a southpaw. Now the angles change, the lines change.
Yeah, this was a tough time for Edwards to be inactive, because I think he was a guy who, was just sort of entering a lot of people's consciousness a year and some change ago. And then he had that pretty high profile exchange with Jorge Masvidal. And so there was a lot of interest in that from a storyline standpoint. And then, of course, this has been a rough year for everybody with the COVID and the inactivity and all the rest of that. So I think Edwards is definitely looking to establish some familiarity with folks.
That was a good liver kick he landed there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
It's because every time Edwards does a good job. If he backs up to his left angle, he switches southpaw. So he's always backing up to his strong side. If he backs up to his right, phenomenal straight left too.
Yep.
He switches orthodox. And the reason why he does that is because if you're moving backwards, moving into your support leg always gives you strength. If you move away from your support leg, you can move in that direction. And a lot of guys, if you're right-handed and you move to a right angle behind you towards your butt, basically, it's just a weak angle. You're not strong there. You have to pivot out if someone attacks you. There's check hooks and jabs and whatnot. But as far as throwing any kind of straights, they're very difficult. Whereas if you back off how he does, switching stance. So if you're going to move off to your right as a right-handed person, or as a southpaw, you switch right-handed. Now you're loading your right hand as you're moving back. And that's what Edwards does on defense.
That's the end of the first round. All standing, just as I think most people would expect it to be. That's a replay of that high left. Yeah, he didn't block that at all, huh?
Nope.
Yeah.
With his head.
Yeah.
That was a nice straight left. Kept his head outside the angle. Muhammad did a good job of just fading away. He was backwards against the cage. A lot of guys, sometimes their feet will get stuck in cement there. They'll think they go into defense, and it's actually the worst thing you can do in that position. Fading away and running is a great job on his part.
That high left kick reminded me, I don't know if I ever told you this or not, but when we were getting ready for the last, during the last Wimp to Warrior camp, when we were getting ready for the fights, there was an actual conversation amongst the coaches about, can anyone throw a head kick, or do we just need to not worry about it? Like they were kind of they looked around at everyone. They're like, maybe,
defense.
yeah, maybe Tom over there, maybe him. Anyone else? Anyone else? Kind of like that. All right, round 2 is underway. Starting pretty much same as the first. And there's an eye poke. Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Did he go for an open palm? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, let's look at the replay here. Muhammad looks like he's in a lot of pain there. It's his left, or it's his right eye, rather. It's his right eye. Okay, here's the replay. Tell me what you see there.
Oh, what happened was Leon was using what's called a flash. I call it flash. So you move your hand that's the same side as your kicking hand as a distraction. It also helps load that hip because it causes a stretch reflex. So you extend your hand out. It keeps the guy from shooting on you, and it's also a distraction. And then that same side. So in this situation, his left hand extended, and then he threw the left kick. It kind of, sometimes it can look like a punch. I usually keep my hand closed when I do it because it is a punch. It's just not a very hard punch. It's a distraction, and it's just getting my body lined up so I can deliver a harder roundhouse. But he kept his hand loose, which, you know, that wasn't as much as that. That's kind of just a bad habit.
Yeah. Boy, Muhammad looks like he's in a lot of pain here.
I mean, he got stabbed in the eye pretty hard.
Yeah. Doctor's going to look at the eye here. Okay, see that athletic commissioner? See the bald dude, the black dude right there with Edwards?
Yeah.
That looks like Louis Gossett Jr. Remind me to tell you a story about him in a second.
Okay.
Get the outcome here. All right, here's a replay one more time. Yep.
Yeah.
That was old.
Straight left with an open hand in the eye. I mean,
nope, that's the end of the fight. Yep, Herb Dean's waving that off.
You got to. That's a pretty severe. Obviously, it's going to be a factor in the fight now. You know what I mean? All fouls can be slightly, you know, but I mean, this is a foul that obviously now he's on one eye, you know?
Yeah. Swelled up real ugly too. I think he's going to, from what I saw in the aftermath, I think it's okay. The eye is going to be okay long-term, but definitely was going to have to be called off because the eye pretty much swelled up shut. Now, tell me your thoughts. Edwards was talking in the post-fight press conference about, you know, he believes the title shot should be next for him. It was clear the way the fight was going that he was dominating the fight. And so there's no reason to run that back. Muhammad begs to disagree. And I think was a little, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, I don't think that was as one-sided as Edwards might have felt that was. You know, I felt he was, you know, he was in control of the fight comfortably, you know, but as far as like a completely one-sided, you know, it wasn't an ass whooping by any stretch of the imagination. I think Muhammad deserves another shot at that fight, you know, and Edwards to erase this going forward. I think this, if he had been extremely active before Edwards, this was kind of a speed bump, the DQ. Maybe this is a different conversation, but because of the inactivity, this isn't going to help him propel him to a title shot.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense to me. And, you know, it's not like 2 out of that 1 round that you did get. It's not like it was a 10-8 round. No. You know, it's not like, oh, my God, this guy saved by the bell.
He won the round, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he landed that guy's head kick straight left. I saw a good liver shot, you know what I mean? I didn't really see too many significant strikes landed from Muhammad. No grappling, so it's easy to, you know, use that as a non-factor. So, I mean, you know, no argument that Leon won the first round. It looked like he was doing well in the second round, but it wasn't like it was oh my God, this guy is just a monster. You know what I mean? It was a very effective strategic fight, and you know, and needs to be done again.
Yeah, it looks that way. Looks that way to me too, all things considered. I think sometimes fighters, and I don't know how self-aware Leon Edwards is of all this, but I also think sometimes when you find yourself in a situation like this after you've already had a year plus of inactivity and all that kind of thing, it's almost kind of like you're just trying to not
Get your
talk
name back in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Not talk your way out of something, but just sort of verbally try to do a little housekeeping. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, yeah, okay, so let's go back to that conversation we were having before I had the layoff. How about that? You know?
Yeah. So also too, you got to, just like insight in the fighter's mind. Leon Edwards might very well want the rematch. He might want to go ahead and fix this. And that was his first things that he was shouting inside the locker room. And then all of a sudden, the head cornerman, his trainer and his manager standing there going, "No, let's not say that. We want you to say this. Let's move forward."
Yeah.
So, like from a business point of view, that sounds like a very businessman statement. Fighters make those statements all the time, but usually that's coerced from a manager, from a trainer. You'd be more surprised that honestly, if we probably had Leon right now in a room and like, "Hey man, no one's taping. You want to do that one again, don't you?" And he'd probably say, "Yeah, I'm not comfortable with how that goes." I mean, that's just the personality, the makeup of a guy who's at his level anyways.
Yeah, that makes sense. Somebody's over in the corner on a laptop running the analytics,
Yeah, like, "No, man, we don't need to do that one again. We want to do this," because they're thinking money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fighters thinking, pride, competitive, competition. The different aspects that drive him to be a warrior isn't necessarily financial gain.
Yeah. All right. I got to tell you the story about the fake Louis Gossett Jr. there, the athletic commissioner. So first of all, I don't know if I've ever told you my position on the athletic commissioner, just in general. To me, nothing makes somebody more cocky than putting that maroon sport coat on them. As soon as they get that coat on them, I don't know what kind of powers that thing yields, but it's always interesting to me because the athletic commissioners in the maroon coats, first of all, they all look to me like someone else. Like there's a guy that looks like Louis Gossett Jr. There's a guy that looks like Garrison Keillor. There's a guy that looks like Biggie Smalls. Like they all kind of look like someone else, right? Okay, so a couple of years ago, Louis Gossett Jr. there is one of the athletic commissioners for I think it was a Ultimate Fighter finale. Because I remember it was at the Palm, so it was in the smaller theater, where they do the fights.
Yeah.
And so I'm on press row, so like those first couple of tables by the cage, and the restroom it was the restroom media center. I think the media center I was trying to get to, which is usually back by the locker rooms and all that kind of thing, was through the tunnel that the fighters come down. Right. So I'm there. I've been there for a little bit. First couple of fights have happened, and I've made one or two trips from the tables up the tunnel to the media center. And what we basically have to do when those things happen is you just have to make sure it's a break in the action, that there's no fights about to start. Obviously, you're going to give the fighters the right of way if they're walking to the cage, but this is during a break, right? Okay. So I go to head up that tunnel, and Louis Gossett Jr. he stops me because he wants me to go around this other way. Like there's another longer way to get there, and that's all fine, But rather than just point to it, rather than just say, "Hey, if you don't mind, if you'll just go that, loop that way around to get there so we avoid the tunnel." Let's see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So he grabs my wrist like this, like wrist control, like, in case I'm going to flee or something. And he takes me by the wrist like this. And with his other hand, he's gesturing where he wants me to go or whatever. But the whole time I'm like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And it held it for like a long period of time. Like all this time that I'm talking, he's still holding on to my wrist going into this explanation about this other route that I need to take,
You're like, "Hey man, are we talking about buying me dinner later?
Yes.
What's up here?"
Yes. It was those guys, man. I always like the other move I always like that they do too is when the fighter wins and he's celebrating when he climbs up on the cage, you know, and he's sitting on the cage and waving to fans and flexing or whatever. Well, you're not supposed to do that, right? But fighters do it anyway. And my favorite thing is when the fighter does it and the athletic commissioner goes over to him while they're on top of the cage and starts giving them the, hey, you get down here. Now, come on. None of that. Now, come on. God, with the funny bit, get down here. You know, and it does nothing. Like eventually they have to come down, but there's a real show put on. Yeah.
You got to make it look like you're doing your job, you know?
It reminds me of the you ever watch the old pro wrestling matches where like the bad guy has the good guy backed into the corner and he's hitting him with the closed fist, which you're not supposed to do, and the referee's giving him the old, hey, now you come on now, I'm going to count to 5, and if I count to 5 and you haven't stopped, there's going to be trouble, mister. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then. That's what I thought. Kind of like that. Anyway. All right. You want to bounce over to go look at Dan Ige and Gavin Tucker. This one will take 20 seconds. Dan Ige, of course, Extreme Couture Products, coached by our friend of the show, Eric Nixick, the general manager over there at Extreme Couture. You know, we haven't had let me know when you're ready. Number 9. What's up?
I already started it. I'm on 18, 20 seconds in, or am I ahead of you?
Yep. No, just pause for a second. Let me get to 20 seconds. Hang on.
I'm at 24 seconds. I'm looking at Martinez.
All right. 24 seconds. Ige, of course, number 9 ranked featherweight, taking on Gavin Tucker. Would you say 20 what seconds?
24.
24. Okay. Hang on. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Yeah. You know, Eric has had a huge year. Won a big coaches award over there at Extreme Couture. We had him on during the quarantine via the video link, like what we're doing now. We got to get him on again. That guy stays so busy. He's out there coaching so much now. Just coached Aljamain Sterling, cornered him. He'll have Francis Ngannou coming up. Really doing great over there. All right, Dan Ige, 14-3. Of course, fighting out of Las Vegas here. He was the fighting out of Hawaii, but Vegas-based fighter. He was comes into this fight a minus 150 favorite, so not an overwhelming favorite here. Gavin Tucker was, I shouldn't say was a hot prospect because he still is, but this was definitely. I know where
this is going.
Yeah. No, this was definitely the knockout of the night. There's a guy you've had an experience with or two there, Mike Beltran. All right. And here we go. Touch of gloves. Center of the octagon. Feeling each other out. No punches landed yet. There's the left for Ige.
A nice fading out towards the side, too.
And we're done.
Staying off line. Oh, came in a straight line. Got landed with the right hand. Yeah. It's the hardest punch you can take. I know they always say it's the one that you don't see, but honestly, when you jump in with a jab or you come in with a hook or whatnot, if you run into a straight punch, those are the hardest shots I've ever felt. I mean, even in sparring, the guy could be wearing an 18-ounce glove. And if you jump into a punch, well, now it's your explosion moving forward and then his hand speed moving back. And just the combined, it just amplifies the power. See, and then the guy's just stunned, doesn't know.
Yeah. You see Tucker asking his corner what happened there. Yeah, just ran right into it.
Yeah, came in on a straight line. And when I say a straight line, meaning that, look, there's a line coming from Ige right forward. Well, when Tucker jumped in, his head was on that line where Ige's the strongest with his straight punches. You either want to fake and go off rhythm so people don't know when you're coming in on that line, or you got to come in off that line. You know what I mean? But coming straight in on that line predictably is usually a recipe for disaster.
Great knockout there by Ige. definitely a knockout of the night, and more big things coming up ahead for the Extreme Couture product. Other good fights on the card. Thought we'd just take a look at a few there and get your thoughts. You know what? You want to go one more? Let's do the co-main. Yeah, let's do Spawn.
How do you pronounce his name? Cirkanov?
Yeah, Spawn and Misha Cirkanov. Here we go. For some reason, when I see Ryan Spawn, I think see the name Ryan Spawn, I think of the old Milwaukee Braves Hall of Fame pitcher Warren Spawn.
Oh.
I don't know why. Tell me when you're ready.
All right, I pressed play already. I'm at
where you at?
15, 16, 17,
right.
18.
Hold on. Let me get there.
Pause it at 20 seconds.
Okay, hang on.
I'm looking at
All right. Yeah, okay. I'm at 20 seconds. Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, number 11, Cirkanov against number 13, Spawn.
That was funny. We should have did like, okay, is it 3, 2, 1, go, or 3, 2, 1, and go?
Yeah, I know it. All right. Light heavyweight fight here. Spawn was a slight underdog at plus 115. Where was your first tattoo, Frank?
Oh, it was my last name on my right arm.
The one on the arm. It's always interesting to me to see where people start and where they end up with tattoos. Because, like, for example, the neck tattoo. I feel like the neck is not a place people start. It's usually a place people finish after they've kind of done everything else.
Usually entry level.
Yeah. It's just interesting. You know, I see Spawn has done the Superman symbol there on his chest, but there's really nothing else going on. It looks like he's got a number of things on the arm there, but nothing else anywhere on the torso. And then Cirkanov there, he's like me. He doesn't look like he has a tattoo anywhere in sight. All right, here we go. I don't think we're going to be talking about this one too long either, so pack all your comments in quick.
Well, right now, Cirkanov's doing a good job of controlling the outside leg, meaning that you see how as he's attacking to the outside of Spawn's left foot. There he went inside, and that's why he got a little bit of trouble. You don't want to move forward inside someone's leg unless you move really far in and you make them square, meaning that if I'm going to attack you on that line on the inside, I attack you almost towards your back leg and come in at a 45-degree angle. So essentially, I make it to where you're fighting me square if you don't readjust. Ooh.
Yeah, Spawn took a low kick there. Cirkanov was attempting to throw a inside kick, and it didn't look like the worst one you'd ever seen. But Spawn gets kind of floated for cover there. Yeah. All right.
So there he did a good job of trying to attack and get to the outside. Again, he's doing the same, and that's why the retaliation of the defensive hook from Spawn wasn't as effective. Now, when Cirkanov seems to get a little bit greedy, straight right hand caught him.
Well, straight right hand is the story of the night here. Yeah. All right, so he lets him back up there. Doesn't want to go to the ground with him.
Moving the wrong direction.
Cirkanov's dropped again. Hammer fist coming down, end of fight. Yeah, it looked like Cirkanov never really fully recovered from getting dropped.
I think he was also moving in when he got caught with that right hand. And, you know, again, you get a guy, Spawn's power, ability, and strength and size. And now you add to it by, basically running into it. I mean, hell, running into a wall hurts. Now imagine that wall's moving towards you at the same time. See there, he moved outside. Oh, he was moving out, but just Spawn has a good reach and fired a good timing behind it. See, he's trying to go outside. Oh, no. Spawn beat his foot to the outside. He's trapped him off. You see how when he landed the right hand, his left foot was outside of Cirkanov's. So it allowed him to be able to catch him.
Oh, yeah.
That was the second shot. Hopefully the show replay of the first shot, and I'll show you again. They're not going to.
Yeah. Fun while it lasted. Boy, that was the story of the night.
Here, if you want to replay it, I'll show you so you learn a little about it.
Sure. Where we let's see, where are we going back to here?
Replay to 3:30.
Okay. Coming back. Hang on. Okay, I'm there.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, play.
Yep.
All right. Now they'll show the replay here. Now here you can't tell because we're not looking at their feet.
Mm-hmm.
On this next angle here, they're going to show the feet. You'll see here, look at the bottom. He tries to step out, but then Spawn beats him with his own left hand, steps outside his foot, and throws the right hand. So now he catches him on the inside. And that's a battle that always happens between Southpaws and Orthodox, trying to get that proper angle. Whoever's foot is on the outside is usually going to have dominant punching angles.
Man, that's a lot to think about while somebody's punching you. I'm just always impressed when someone counters, you know. I'm just always, because I mean, that was a counter shot. You know, I'm always impressed when somebody can take that shot and then still be thinking about their counter and foot position and all that. Anyway, all right, well done. Quick night of fights. I think it's next week that we've got the Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic rematch.
Oh yeah.
You think that's going to go any different?
No. I really don't. I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, Francis hits harder than anybody who's ever hit in MMA. So, I mean, that being said, there's always a chance of him walk-off home run, you know, landing one. I mean, hell, DC landed the home run shot on Miocic. And, you know, and obviously there's no comparison in punching power between Francis and Daniel. But that being said, as far as the more consistent, who has better strategy, who has, you know, better technique, it's Miocic's the much more well-rounded martial artist. He's even the better striker. If they were boxing, as far as like how to throw a jab, how to throw a right hand, when to throw it, how to angle it, Miocic is the superior striker. It's just that Francis has ungodly power, so he can make up for a lot of lack of technical prowess. You know, and you know, I mean, hell, I mean, I can show you replays of Francis landing punches with the palm of his hand. You know, even in his last fight against the real good kickboxer. 8 seconds.
Oh, who we? Are you talking about?
Francis when he fought the other good kickboxer, the one that split Alistair's lip.
Damn it! Hang on, Rosenstrike. Yeah.
You know, if you watch the flurry that came forward, it wasn't pretty as far as Francis, as far as like proper angle with the knuckles, proper hip alignment. But hell, it worked, obviously, and it worked very well. So, I mean, Francis is capable of being the heavyweight champ. And if he catches Miocic, it isn't like it's going to surprise me. I'm like, well, I didn't see that coming. But as far as if they fought each other, you know, 100 times, I'm betting, you know, I bet Miocic wins 95 of them just because of his striking and his wrestling ability and grappling. And then also, too, you know, as far as 5-round fight, if Francis doesn't get him out of there early, you know, explosion power dissipates. You know, you see a lot of fighters. I mean, look, even Anthony Johnson, who's, you know, really good shape, phenomenal fighter. But as rounds go on, he becomes less dangerous. That power starts to fade. There's very few guys that I can point to that are extremely powerful that also seem to have great endurance. That seems to be the unicorn. You know, it's kind of like you're either one or the other. You're either a volume fighter who can grind, or you're a guy who's extremely explosive and you're going to be more like a sniper and fight in spurts, you know. But putting it together, I mean, that's just a rare combination. I mean, the only guy I can think of off the top of my head is maybe like Glover Teixeira, who has ungodly power, and I never see that guy get tired, you know.
Do you think yeah, I mean, he's probably looks a little more like that. I was also thinking of a few guys like, and I don't know if this falls into that category that you're describing, but like Roy Nelson or Derek Lewis. Now they look tired. I mean, they but
they're
they,
tough and they grind it out, but they're still
yeah.
not fighting at a high outpace.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
able to
Yeah. Yeah.
survive, but as far as like they're not putting the pedal down, you never watch a Derek Lewis fight or a Roy fight and go, man, he threw 80 punches.
No.
You know what
No.
I mean? Like,
yes.
so as far as you're like, basically, it's like, man, that guy looked like on death's doorstep, and he threw 5 punches in the last round, and one of them put the guy's lights out.
Yeah,
So
that's Derek Lewis.
And Stipe, or excuse me, Francis can do the same thing. If he holds back the volume, he might retain that explosiveness as the fight goes on. But to do that against Miocic means he's giving up points. He's going to be losing round after round after round, and he's going to conserve himself to hope that later on he can land a hard shot. So usually that's not really a great game plan. But as far as just having heart, which, Lewis has a ton of, just grinding on and holding on, and then, pushing through at the end. But it's not because of great endurance. It's great, heart.
By the way, we're 2 weeks away from UFC 260, the Miocic and Ngannou rematch. I forgot about this because next week we get another UFC Fight Night card here in Las Vegas. Derek Brunson against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, a guy that we had in studio here on Phone Booth Fighting, probably middle of last year. Man, that guy is coming on real strong. That guy is positioning himself to be a middleweight star. So big things ahead for him. Good Definitely we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Yeah, for sure.
Well, then we'll break down the Miocic and Francis fight next week if fans want to more. I mean, it's more or less me breaking down Stipe. I mean, Miocic, again, and I don't mean this to be insulting. I'm really not. It's just that Francis is not, I mean, he's a gifted athlete, man. Fuck, like the guy just has ungodly power. I mean, hell, who doesn't want to look like Francis, have his physical gifts. But as far as, sometimes those gifts hold you back as far as your ability to learn the different strategies and techniques. Because it's like, hey, why do I got to learn how to juke people if I can just run everybody over? Well, I mean, one day you might run into somebody you can't run over, and I think that's what's happened with Francis. And when it comes to with Miocic, who has a good chin, I mean, he's taken shots before. I mean, he's been caught. But that's just, he got caught by the Stefan Struve uppercut, by the hook punch by off the backside by Cormier when they angled that. Well, here, we can go over it next week more. I'm going over to basically.
Yeah. No, a little tease for next week. We'll definitely do that. All right, left turn for you. Have I ever told you my position on ring card girls?
I don't think so.
I don't understand why we have them.
I agree with you.
Really? Okay.
No, 100%. It's the dumbest thing. It's an archaic holdover from Mad Men time. And I think in the new, I tell you, before I'm cutting you off, but I think it's the weirdest thing to go to a fight and you really get to watch the two, is it the juxtaposition position? Is that what I'm saying? When you have two intersection points of cross, worlds, and you have the old fashioned sexism that women are only for their looks and a prize to be held. The girl walking around the cage, only has to be smart enough not to trip over the fucking ropes, right? And even that she has someone helping her with. And then you have a woman warrior sitting in the cage who trains, who's self-sufficient, who's a fucking battle-hardened, just everything you want your daughter to be, right? Or your wife, just independent, strong, ferocious, that adds to the pack, a lioness, you know what I mean? And then you have the little Gazelle walking around. Gazelle, it's so weird to me to have those two things. I mean, personally, I say get rid of ring card girls. I don't see a purpose for it.
I don't either. I just don't understand why. And look, if you want to have a bikini contest, I'm not expecting an MMA fight to break out in the middle of your bikini contest. So go do that somewhere else, But it is very strange to me. And I don't know how far back you would have to go to find when that started. It's going to have started in boxing.
Yeah.
But that wasn't around during. Yeah. Cause Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney didn't have them. So, it's going to be sooner than anyway, whatever time I'm going to guess.
Then it was probably a dude with his sleeves rolled down, like some older guy just saying, okay, it's round 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to guess. I'll bet it started here in Vegas. I'll bet one of the, like when they used to have the big fights at Caesars and that kind of stuff.
Challenge now.
Yeah.
You have a lesson or a
homework
assignment.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do a presentation on that. I'll do a report next week and especially because I go out on this limb, because it's interesting you say this, Frank, because I get so much heat from most of our fellow MMA commentators about this position, like the guys over at MMA Junkie. Georgian Ghost, I think I'm out of my mind.
Really?
Because here's my position on it. First, the reason I noticed it to begin with is because the MMA fans, and particularly the UFC fans, I mean, they take this stuff to another level. Like, it's one thing when it was always around in boxing with these kind of anonymous, nameless ring card girls, but the UFC fans, they know the names of these girls and they're fans of them. And the lines to get their autograph are sometimes longer than the lines to get fighters' autographs at public events. And it's so strange to me. And you'll hear the commentators they always have to thank them and acknowledge them. I think it was John Anik not too long ago. I was watching a fight, and he thanked, I don't know what, I can't recall all their names. Yeah, Ariana Celeste. She comes down, she holds up, drops the card, and then does the obligatory, blows the kiss to the camera, and he thanks her for holding it down. Like, thanks to Ariana Celeste for holding it down. I thought, holding it down, as in, boy, it's a good thing we have her here, because if she wasn't here to hold it down, I don't know if this fight card would go off, I know he's just saying what he needs to say, but it's so strange to me that they elevate to that level. And because I just don't get blending the sexuality with the pugilism. One's for one and one's for the other.
Ambassador of our sport. You know what I mean? That's the part too that, like, if you're like, well, they kind of like, they do autograph signings. I'm like, for what? They're not warriors. They're not stepping in the cage. They don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, they're no more of an ambassador for our sport than the camera guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. At least he has, you know what I mean? Like, he's involved. How come he doesn't have people wanting to autograph? If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be getting the phenomenal shots and seeing the knockouts. The camera guys are extremely fucking important. I would say, hands down, more important than the ring card girl is having a good production crew, right?
Yeah.
They're way more important than, and as far as being part of the world of MMA, their contributions are much greater.
I told Georgian Goes, I said, because they brought up, of course, now they love to needle me about it. They've known this forever, right? So they love to tease me about this. They just can't believe that I don't know the names of any of these girls and all this. And one of them,
two, right?
What's that?
There's just two of them, right?
Oh, see, I love that you say that, because you believe that. You think there's only two UFC ring card girls.
Yeah, Ariana Celeste and Brittany Amber.
I think that's a porn star. Brittany Amber. You're thinking of Brittany Palmer.
Oh, okay. I mean, Brittany Palmer. They're nice girls. I like them.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah, nothing against them as people, but no, I think they've got like 8 or 10 more, but they all have two first names like that. So it's like, yeah, I can't. But if we had one of the MMA Junkie, if we had Georgia Goes on, they'd be able to name them all. They'd be able to tell you who they all. Yep, and they'd tell you, like, they use these for more high profile fights, and they use this one when they're in Brazil because she's Brazilian and all that kind of thing. Yeah, but the guys brought this up to me because it's funny, you were mentioning the camera guy, right? The importance of him. So one of the guys said to me, they go, well, what are you going to do, asking me eventually, how are you going to feel when they start suggesting that, Ariana Celeste ought to be in the UFC Hall of Fame? And I wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me. I could see him doing something like that. But you know what I told him, Frank? I said, well, look, why stop there? I said, I'll bet there's a guy who at the end of every round honks the horn better than any of the other horn honkers. Like, shouldn't that number one horn honker go in the Hall of Fame? You dropped out for a second.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. Is it my?
Yeah. I got you now. Okay.
Am I coming back on? All right.
Yeah.
Pause for 1 second, because if I pause you, I lose you for a second. Hey, babe.
Okay. Here's Frank fielding a phone call from his wife.
Oh, awesome. I'll be done in 10 minutes because I got a 1 o'clock thing. Can I call you back then?
Awesome. Seems like Mrs. Mears in a good mood.
Yeah, she is. All right, baby, awesome. Yeah, stop. I don't want you to get recorded, baby. Stop. Love you. Bye.
Oh, she must have gotten amorous there for a second.
For a second,
Like,
so
hey,
you guys could possibly hear.
this will get us thrown off of YouTube. Can't put this. This is Patreon content. Hold on, we'll tape that later. Yeah. So So they brought that idea up to me, and I was just like, I just do not. I just don't get why that. And I'll say something else that's funny too. I'll tell you another little behind the scenes thing. So it drives me crazy when I see the ring card girl at the fights on her phone, because to me, like, okay, we're all going along with this parade about you're going to get up there and hold up the number and everything in between rounds. At least look like you're giving it your undivided attention for the time that you're here.
I agree. Look like you're into the fights.
That's right. So they'll be over there on their phones, but I've seen this happen a couple times too, and this is funny. So at the media tables, you got all the guys, we're all sitting there with our laptops open, right? And there are those power strips on the table that everybody plugs their laptops into, right?
When I'm commentating, they'll walk over and can I try to unplug something to plug in a charger?
Yes, and you have never seen
that allows them to. I'm like,
oh,
shit.
You have seen
figure it out somewhere else.
Yes, and you have never seen a stampede of volunteers. When that happens, just a bunch of dudes diving over there like, oh, take my hand, hang on, move. Elbowing him out of the way, unplugging my lap. No, I'm fully charged. I'm fully charged. Here, you take this. You use my charger. Here, hang on. Use my charger. What kind of phone you got? Is that a 10, an iPhone? Oh, I got the 12. I got the 12 Pro. Here, that'll work for that. Yeah, there you go. I heard Brittany Palmer, or Brittany Amber, as you know her, Frank, talking one time.
Amber a porn star? Did I just slip?
Gotta be. I don't know for a fact, but I feel pretty comfortable wagering on that. Yeah. I feel like if I put Brittany Amber into a search engine, I'm going to get a lot of pop-ups. That's what I feel.
A lot of time out of town in hotel rooms, guys.
So I heard her interviewed going all the way back to when UFC absorbed WEC, right? Remember? So, but they were both owned by Zuffa for a long period of time, and then at some point they just decided, okay, we're going to do away with the WEC brand, just bring everybody into UFC. So Brittany Palmer started out as WEC ring card girl, and she did this interview on, I think it was, it was on George and Goza's show. This interview where she went into this long breakdown of it reminded me of how you just broke down the Miocic Ngannou rematch. She went into this long breakdown of what the transition was going to be like for her, adapting from being a WEC ring card girl to becoming a UFC ring card girl. And in my mind, I'm thinking,
no way.
I think what you're doing is you're changing out of a blue bikini and you're putting a red one on. That's my breakdown. Right?
Man, I feel like you're cornering me to make me look like an asshole because this is my asshole side coming out right now. Well, the steps in the UFC are 12 inches, and I'm used to the 10-inch step staircase because the height of the 1.8 meter cage. Oh man, I'm gonna get some hate over this one.
Well, I'm right here with you. Look at me. Normally I'm the one going, oh, Frank, I don't know about that. No, I led you right into it. Yeah, I feel the same way, and I'm not saying there aren't places for that, but I just don't understand why it's there. I
agree with you, man. I'm 100% on board.
All right.
I think most fathers, if you say, hey, you want your daughter to be the girl in the cage or the girl holding up the card in between rounds,
Yeah, I mean, and
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other men are okay with that. They think that that's fine, and they want their daughter to be just an object of sexual desire for men, and that's their accomplishment.
Okay, here's the funny thing, though. I don't, and I'm a heterosexual guy. I enjoy the female.
I'm a porn star. I mean,
yes, you did.
Like it too.
Yes, you did.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't eat my dessert while I'm eating my fucking dinner.
Yes, that's what
one and then the other. I like violence and I like sexuality, but
yeah,
switch them up.
That's my position on it. It's just that it's out of place. You know, there's categories, and I don't understand why that's there. Yeah, that's
like I said, that's a great analogy. I think it'd be like me eating my turkey dinner, right? Thanksgiving, you have your mashed potatoes and all the different things, and then in between, I'm taking bites of cheesecake or apple pie. Like you'd be like, someone would look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, so in between the turkey and cranberry, you're having apple pie? I'm like, yeah. Don't you eat apple pie? You're like, well, yeah, but usually at the end. You know what I mean? Like, I have my main course, the entree, and then you have your dessert. You know what I mean? Like, they're separate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, some people want one first. I mean, you could eat your dessert first and then eat your entree, but usually people don't interchange the two. And you're right. My sexuality and my competition, game mode is just two different vibes of mine for me.
Yeah, like how's this one for you? Let me throw an analogy out. So to me, the other thing about MMA is it's, I mean, not to over dramatize, but I don't think it is. I mean, it's kind of potentially a life and death thing. I mean, people are running real physical risk doing this and risking, very serious injuries. Right, that sort of thing. So sort of like if I have a friend that's a surgeon and we're going to sit down and watch stand-up comedy together, that's fine, and we're going to enjoy that. But I don't want that surgeon watching stand-up comedy while he's performing surgery on me.
100%.
I just don't understand why it's happening within that same arena, why it's happening in that operating room. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
All right. Well, we will.
We're just in an echo room now.
That's right. That's right. Well, we'll give it a week for all of the angry ring card girls to DM us, and then we'll read those angry responses next week on the show, as well as break down Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic, the rematch, in more detail. How about that? Awesome. All right. We'll let Frank go here. Anything we want to mention? We probably want to mention American Shaman, right, Frank?
Yeah, Mere American Shaman. Make sure you go on the website, check out the products. You'll see what I've been using very strongly. In fact, actually, I think here pretty soon I'm going to video crew come out. And I'm going to go through all the different vitamins and supplements and my daily routine. So you'll be able to see all the different parts it punches in. And then by going on there, you'll see and be able to purchase some of the supplements that I'm on. And then obviously Mitrospec for Kratom, awesome company. Make sure you check that out. And then, oh, hey, these guys, let's see. Can you see it?
There you go. Yep.
Some old man strength.
T-shirts.
Cool shirts, man. I like them. Instagram, follow them on Old Man Strength. Cool company.
Okay. All right. I'll check those out too. I'd love to say I don't know what you're talking about, but I think hearing that phrase reminds me when I did the Naga grappling tournament. I think I was doing the second one, and I was talking to some guys at the gym about, because I remember I was excited because I was about to age out of the category where I'm the oldest person in it. And I was about to be in the category where I'm the youngest person in that tier, right? So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a spring chicken again. I just remember one of the guys looking at me and going, oh, you don't want that. And I said, why? He goes, old man strength. He's like, now you got to deal with people's old man strength. Yeah, you don't want to run up against that. All right, very good. All right, Frank, talk to you soon. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like and subscribe. Tell a friend about Phone Booth Fighting, and we'll see you next time.